Whoa. Back in the chair. Woo! Okay, people, welcome back to another Fwoosh rundown. Kinda. You already know I have a problem with what to call this sort of video, but today we're skewing even further away from what we usually talk about. Most of the time it's reveals, finished figures, prototypes, pre-orders. Today we're taking a little peek behind the curtain. For May the 4th, ZBrush held a special live stream for all things Star Wars, because it was May the 4th. I'm just running in circles here. And for those of you who don't know, ZBrush is a digital sculpting program. And now you know as much as I know, because I'm not really a sculptor. But they dedicated one segment to Hasbro Star Wars action figures, bringing the team on, taking a look at the actual digital files, and there were things revealed about upcoming figures that we've all had questions about. Like the new Book of Boba Fett Mandalorian that's now up for pre-order. We were told that a lot of the parts were new, but I didn't realize how much. Yes, the overall proportions are better, the helmet size, the way the shoulder pads lay, but then this popped up on the screen real quick, and when it happened, because it was a live stream, it was kind of a, oops, we weren't supposed to show that, but here you go. So it looks like there will be a Din Djarin head underneath the helmet. Since they didn't mention this during the reveal, I'm guessing that this is just going to be an unpainted head under the helmet. Which makes sense, and it's going to sound like I'm defending this decision when they could have just gave it to us, but he didn't remove his helmet in Book of Boba Fett. But it also feels like, hey, here's an unpainted head. We'll give you a painted one later and you'll have to buy another version, and that'll come with the spear, and it's never quite perfect, but I still like this figure a lot. Then they showed the Shop Disney exclusive Dok-Ondar, and we've talked about this a couple times. He has a soft goods robe, and we've been wondering what's under there. It does in fact have the organic sculpted lower leg going up to the knee, but then it has tatters in it and turns into pants. There's no reason to do this unless there's going to be reuse, which when it comes to Hasbro, we knew was going to happen, but I like further confirmation. They could have just put a blank body of some kind under there. Now, when it's soft goods, yes, they usually do the extra details, but this is just another step to getting us a Star Wars A New Hope Momonadon, right? The hammerhead from the cantina. You know what I'm talking about. Because that sculpt detail is damn close to what we've seen in the 3 3/4 inch line before. You get up to the forearms though, and there are wraps there. I don't know if that's specific to Doc, but that wasn't on Moma. Moma. Then you get up to the upper arm and it has the sleeve with the tatters in it. So maybe when they do eventually get to that character, they'll just swap this out and still have the hands here, whatever's on the torso, the legs, the head. Most of it's there. It does kind of shoot down my hope for a vintage style hammerhead with just the blue onesie with the short shorts. If they do this on a retro card or an homage to the vintage figure, my best guess is they're just going to have the clothing blue, the sculpted parts, and then hammerhead parts. Which is okay, but at the same time, I guess they could just do an upper arm and a leg and just leave the pants. Black Krrsantan is looking so good. We knew that though. We'd seen the finished figure, but here they took off his harness and his shoulder pads, and there's butterfly joints under there. I still think it's going to be limited in places because of the thickness, because of the fur, especially the head with those braids hanging down. But I'm a lot more confident in his gun wielding ability now, because it looks like the elbows are cut down. I'm guessing the hang down hairs are going to be soft. He's going to get past 90 a little bit, but butterflies are going to help a lot. Also, he can strap his gun to his back. I don't know if that was in any of the promotional pictures, but that's a neat little feature too, a display option. Another burning question I've had for weeks is the new R2-D2 size, but first they showed off the neck extendo feature. Hasbro's mentioned several times that the tools and such that you can plug into the body store inside that neck. Now they've finally shown us that feature. At first I thought, does each one have its own station? You have to put them in certain spots, but the more I look, the more I think that you could just plug them in. It looks just like a rod. It goes here, and here, and here, and here, and here. In fact, they showed all the tools on it at the same time, at least digitally. Another feature that's kind of slid under the radar is the third leg. Yes, it does have that too. I guess the head goes down, and it's hollow in the middle with its little holder things around the outside, and then the third leg goes into the middle of that. So there's a lot of engineering going on here. But again, it's all about the size. Black Series has produced small R2s for far too long. It was time to get accurate scale. And now we finally see that side by side, and I'm thinking they nailed it. It's not a perfect comparison, especially not having the figure in hand, but seeing that the old R2's head comes up slightly above the blue rectangles on the new R2's dome, that looks damn close to the scale of the Bandai model kit. And as we all know at this point, that is as close to perfect size as you can get. That deserves a round of applause. Come on, you know you wanna. I do notice that the blues are different, and I hate to say that my preference is the darker blue of the old, but I don't have a problem with the lighter blue of the new either. I put the Clone Trooper in here because there's something very interesting going on. Well, it may not be interesting to everybody, but I like the magic behind things. I like taking apart figures and seeing how they work. So seeing them do the same thing, here's this, this, and this. I love it. The new clone does have a bicep swivel, but when they showed the picture, I thought, wait a second, what the hell's going on there? Then I realized, oh, it's like Medicom's Mafex line. The elbow is going all the way through the bicep and plugging into the shoulder. So it is still a hinge and swivel at the elbow. It just swivels at a higher point. You can turn the bicep with it, but I think it free floats on top. You can turn it in any direction you want to go. Now, there has been complaints about the Mafex setup. I think, it was Wolverine, and it may be another figure where it was easy to pop out. But this is Hasbro. They have no problem sticking a big old mushroom head on the end of a shaft. Or where it won't pop out. I know this is going to sound like a shot at Medicom, but Hasbro has to adhere to higher safety standards. Mafex is a purely collector-driven line. Hasbro is sold in toy aisles, so there's the possibility of children buying these. Therefore, things can't just pop off and be swallowable. Although, it does come with smaller parts. So, I don't know how that works either. I'm not a sculptor. I'm not a lawyer. I just play with toys. Bottom line, it's an interesting point of articulation to throw in there. It'll help with posing. That's all that matters. I also love when they show close-ups of digital faces. It shows you all the detail that was meant to be there. Sometimes that's lost in translation, either because of, well, at the factory, with the molding, with the paint, whatever. It's cool to see that it was meant to be there, but maybe didn't make it to the final product. Of course, I don't know. I haven't seen it in hand yet, so... Something I missed with the initial reveal was that Ahsoka doesn't have thigh swivels. It came up a lot in the comments afterwards, and there I thought, well, yeah, she doesn't have thigh swivels. They made sure to go into that during the live stream. The movement is now centered around the hip ball itself, with them removing some material from around the socket. That way the upper leg will avoid the rod that comes out and holds it, and allows for a little bit of swivel, I guess. I'm thinking it's kind of like the dumbbell neck joint, where it plugs in and the movement depends on how concave they make underneath. It's kind of a compromise. You're not getting the full thigh swivel because the cut twists all the way around, but you are maintaining the sculpt of the leg. And she does have some detail on the outside that if you turn it, it will break. But then there's also a swivel at the knee too. So there's going to be some twisty. It's one of those things that I'm going to have to experience in hand. Because we get to Darth Malgus, and it's the same situation, just on a larger scale. It's a bigger thigh, it has a lot more sculpted detail to it. In fact, those pads on the outside are sculpted at an angle. So if there's a cut through here, it would have been all kinds of crazy breakage going all the way around. Again, I'm not defending this, especially before taking it for a test drive, but I like seeing new things that may or may not work. They're experimenting, so I can only give it a go. I can only see what happens. But with this character, the biggie was, what does he look like with other figures? And they did a side-by-side of that, and Yep, he's a big boy. I think they said 7 inches, so he's going to tower above a lot of the figures on the shelf. They said he was so big that they had to sculpt up a new lightsaber blade because taking the lightsaber and putting the old blades in it, it just looked too tiny. They had to do that in order to make him look right. That kind of justifies the deluxe package and pricing. Unlike some others in the past, this feels deluxe-y. There's more to the stream. It went on for a while, but those are most of the things that caught my eye. Special thanks to the Out of the Basement boys for making me realize this live stream even existed. I jumped on their live stream on Sunday for a minute and thought, what y'all looking at? So I went over, found the ZBrush thing, and here we are. And I understand this isn't everybody's cup of tea. A lot of people just want to see the finished product, pre-order it, receive it. Nothing wrong with that. This just seems like extra, you know? It answers a lot of questions that they aren't able to get to during the fan streams on Pulse. I like that it's there every now and then for those who want to see that kind of thing. So, either way, we're going to end up with toys. That's what matters. Plus, we've been on a tear with Black Series for the past month or so. So, the excitement's up here. And this keeps me, just riding that roller coaster. Make hay while the sun shines.